Hello, everyone. This is Willem.
And this is Tim.
And this is Hear Me Out Pitch.
Always going to be something unique in the intro.
Always going to be unique, but the thing is they're not going to hear the do-do-do-do-do. Well, they might if I wanted to. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Well, hello, everyone. That was loud. Ugh. Wherever you're at, if you're driving, just be like, I'm doing great. Anyway, welcome, Aquaba. And yeah, we're excited for y'all to be here today. So, yeah, Tim, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
How are you doing?
How am I do? I do good.
How do you?
How do you? Do you good? Do me good? Whoa, wait. I do good. I am doing fantastic.
English
hard today. This is how we talk whole episode now. Yes, we caveman now. Oh.
Me, Tim. You, Willem.
Me. Oh. Yeah, it's a Wednesday. It is a Wednesday, and I am feeling it. Hope everyone is getting ready for spoopy season, because it's coming.
My dad will be excited. I'm sure he already is.
I already am. I saw the pumpkins at the local store, and I was like, oh my gosh, pumpkins. Mm-hmm. Just excited. Just the spoopiness. I love the season between summer and fall. It is like my absolute favorite just time of year. So right after my birthday starts cooling down, and I'm just like, ooh, yes. And then September hits, and I go, Halloween is here. So
yep,
we'll have to figure out how to do some scary movies somehow during Halloween time. So it'll be great.
I hate scary movies with a passion.
Then we'll do Halloween-ish movies.
Halloween movies I can handle.
We could do like
scary movies. I don't.
We can do like odd, creepy movies, like all the Leica movies, like Coraline. Well, Coraline's pretty awesome.
Coraline's a good movie.
Yeah, I don't want to touch that one, but ooh, I could go off forever about that movie though. I could probably do Box Trolls or The Missing Link. The Missing Link was kind of lame. That one was a lame one.
I haven't seen it.
Exactly. Speaking of movies we haven't seen, today we are doing Pompeii from 2014 with the man himself. Oh man, I wrote down his name. Kit Harington?
Kit Harington.
Yeah, Kit Harington. Mm-hmm. The man he's like our height. Dude's like 5'5".
He's short.
He is a short dude. So they had to get a tiny actress to play his opposite in this movie. So, but yeah, how did you like it?
It was okay. It wasn't my favorite movie. I wouldn't go watch it again on my own. But it wasn't, it wasn't the movie that shall not be named, the movie that doesn't exist.
Yeah, we don't talk about that one. But no, I feel like it was trying to be three movies in one. It was trying to be Gladiator, which I know is rated R, but if you compare the rated R of 2000 to the PG-13 of this movie, it really is similar. So if you can skirt that one, I would highly recommend that one. But for everyone out there, 2000, this just had very reminiscent scenes. I was like, this is Gladiator.
Well, the very beginning was just so much blood. Mm-hmm. And seriously, I almost turned the movie off because I was like, this is making me uncomfy. That is a lot of blood.
And if that's as much blood as you're going to see in Gladiator. Some of the fights, though, they do get a little more. They show limbs get cut off.
I mean, it doesn't bother me. It's just
Gladiator makes it a little more. It's just two fights, and you're like, all right. Yeah. I don't know. I would say that. Anyway,
it was the circumstances of the blood that made me a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, because it was like and that scene just. Oh, we'll talk more.
Yeah,
but I would say the three movies it was trying to be is Gladiator, Titanic. Oh, and what was the third one? Crap, I should have written it down.
Never heard of that movie.
I know. It's a hard one. But I was just getting. Yeah. I was getting Titanic vibes, and I was getting.
I definitely got Titanic vibes
because it's an impending doom. Spoilers, everyone. Everyone dies because this is Mount
this
Vesuvius.
Is Pompeii. Everybody died.
Everyone died.
Nobody survived. Not a single soul.
Only the people who were like no, because even the other cities, Herculaneum. I can't say the name right. There's a few other villages that were around, and a few other islands just gone, just destroyed. So, yeah, it was very. If you did survive, it was because you were visiting, and then you came back and you were there. Like, did you hear what happened? No, I didn't. It just felt like it was trying to be so many. Oh, Princess Bride. That's the movie it was gonna. I got vibes of Princess Bride.
Did get Princess Bride Princess Bride vibes.
Yep, Princess Bride, Titanic, and Gladiator. Those 3 movies all wrapped up in one. Don't make a good mix. Well, it doesn't make a good mix if you don't add the right aspects to it, and that's what I think was missing from this movie. Was just a few. If you just tweaked, I don't know, tweaked a few things around, I feel like this movie could have been a lot better. But we have to keep in mind that everyone's gonna die in the end. So how do we make everyone emotionally teary-eyed at the end of this movie? So I just felt like we didn't get a good connection with the characters. Like Atticus, I was like, this is awesome. They always have to have an African slave in the gladiator games. I love it. I just feel like it's always needed, but it always makes me laugh because this actor was... It made me laugh so hard because, and you haven't seen 300, but this is...
I know the scene.
Yeah, this is Sparta. And
I got the vibe.
You got
the one scene where Atticus basically... Spartan kicks the one guy,
and then it was just so funny because he was that messenger that got kicked down the well. Atticus was the messenger who says this is blasphemy, and it was one part where he says this is madness in the movie, and I was like, he said it. This is madness. So Tim, what are a few things you kind of wish to see differently? What is like one thing?
I don't know. I guess I'll start with something I liked.
Okay, no, I think that's a good point. What was something you liked?
I really liked the intro, where it's panning over the statues, and we have the words talking about the people of Pompeii.
That there was crying and screaming, and just people dying,
and death.
It's just,
and it was a very good intro, and this is what I wish I would have seen. There was not like we got the intro and we saw the statues that you can go and see those in real life.
Okay.
The statues of Pompeii.
I feel like we're kind of thinking the same thing here.
And it cuts from that to a village of people getting slaughtered, and then gladiator fights. And we don't even enter Pompeii until we're like halfway through the movie, if I feel like.
So there was no connection to those statues? No
connection. Absolutely none.
So what you're saying is you probably would have wished... I was kind of thinking stories of Ba Sing Se style stuff kind of thing, where we see... Because one of the statues, I looked up some of the statues, and some of the famous ones are... one man is crawling toward someone else. There is a dog, and I definitely would have added the dog.
There's a sheep.
There's a sheep. There's a horse. There is a little boy who's curled up, and he's covering his mouth and nose. I definitely would have... I covered my nose, so everyone probably sounded funny. But he's covering his mouth and nose.
I would have liked to see that.
And I would have loved to see the little boy. So we could have introduced these characters and could have had something like that. But I didn't mind the beginning. I will be honest with you. It was much...
There was no connection, and it was very intense. And there was, for those of you who haven't seen the movie, Kit Harington, the guy that plays the main character,
the Celt,
he is in a gladiator fight, and he absolutely just destroys these three gladiators.
Uh-huh.
No issue. What made me uncomfortable is it was raining, right? And so there was water
Uh-huh.
on all over the ground, and the water was just blood. That's all it was. And that just made me, it just gave me an uncomfortable feeling for a moment. I almost turned the movie off at that point because it just made me that uncomfortable.
I'm glad you kind of said that, though, because I'm glad it made you feel that way, because those fights are supposed to be, it was not fun being a slave. And so, talking about the Celt, we'll just call him the Celt for now, because they don't reveal his name until...
They reveal his name so late.
Yes, it was, and I kind of like that, but I would reveal it, but I'll keep it quiet for at least a moment, let everyone else kind of... So we have the Celt, and it's revealed that he is a little boy from a Celtic tribe that was invaded by the Romans. They were all killed. I wish that we wouldn't have seen that until after we make a connection to his mom, because his mom gets run over by a horse and then gets killed in front of him by the legionnaire.
Yeah.
Which made me laugh because it was just Jack Bauer. I was like, oh my gosh, it's Jack Bauer. Oh my gosh, 24. Is it? You got and it's funny because Pompeii's blowing up, and I'm like, we only have 24 hours left to live. This is great. But Jack Bauer was a bad guy. I mean, he was bad in Wild Boys, and I can't think of his name right now. Probably should. I need to start writing these actors' names up. We're learning. I don't care. But I would have wanted, because they're supposed to be a horse clan.
Yeah.
A horse clan, and he's magically... I wish that we could have seen him riding with his mom, having a connection, like she's teaching him how to be a good horseman, a horse trainer, like showing them how good their tribe was with horses, showing a Mustang going crazy, and he calms it down as a little boy, and like just build a connection that like every time he's with a horse, he like can hear his mom's voice.
He's Aragorn.
Yeah.
He's basically Aragorn.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I don't know. I wanted a stronger connection that the horses to him, when he is working with the horses, he is reminded of his clan, because he's the only survivor. They get wiped out, which happened to a lot of Celtic tribes, which...
A lot of
looking more into my ancestry in general, I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's my ancestors. Oh my gosh. So, but then I have English and Roman in me too. So it's, well, not Roman, but English. So it's awkward. But I wish we could have had that more connection of the horse, because the first scene we get him interacting with the horse.
He kills the horse.
And I was like, that was sad.
I also feel like they could have gone around that scene a little bit better.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe one of the other slaves could have asked, why did you kill it? Mm-hmm. What did you do? Mm-hmm. And he could have just said, it was a mercy.
It was a mercy.
Because, like, it was cool that the princess was, like, it was the kindest thing he could have done, but, like, I feel like it should have come from him. Yeah.
Like, he understands it, or maybe even one of the other slaves could have been like, it's a mercy killing, like, just mumbling under their breath, because slaves understand that. Maybe he was infamous for being merciful. Even after he brutalized you, he would come over and, like, gently just bam. So, something like that. But I also wanted a better love... Like, if we are going to do it, like, would you have the love story? Yes or no?
No.
No? I totally would go for it. But I would make it Wesley and Buttercup.
So here's
go with that vibe.
I would either do no love story, and I would do Tales of Bossing Say style, where it's several different stories.
Interlinking into a finish, or what?
I feel like it would be, at the beginning, we'd have the regular intro that we had, and then I would have a scene, just a black pop-up that says, this is an interpretation of what we believe may have happened to some of these people.
Because we have the little boy, we have the dog,
have the statues, we have evidence.
Do you know what those statues are?
Yeah, actually, they're not the actual statues of the people; they're casts.
Because they've nothing.
Been cast. They were basically immolated. It was. Yeah.
They basically put concrete in the bubbles, and that's what came out. And I'm just like, oh,
yeah,
because there was there are some that have Like there's maybe like 1 or 2 skeletons, but they're
Well,
not covered.
there is one skeleton that it looks like a building fell on top of it.
Oh.
And it's like it's laying, face down, and there's just a chunk of stone laying where the skeleton's head would have been.
So scary.
But anyway, I would have that where, because we have this evidence. We have evidence of how people died, the exact moment that people died, immortalized in stone for eternity. Right, and having that, I feel like, obviously, it's like a fantastical historic. It's a fantastic.
It's the Titanic movie.
History of Pompeii, which isn't real. It's an interpretation of what could have happened. But I definitely feel like maybe having less of the love story and more of a focus on
the people,
the individuals living in Pompeii. I feel like showing how each of these people died would have been a good thing. And I might sound a little sappy for saying this, but I feel like if they had done something like that, it would have honored the dead of Pompeii a little bit better than the movie we got.
Yeah.
Because honoring the dead is something that humans have done since the dawn of time, right? We honor the dead, whether we bury them and we visit their grave every now and again, or we cremate them, or we give them a Viking funeral and send them off on a boat that's burning. Whatever it is, like, we honor the dead all the time. 9/11 is coming up here in just a few days. And everywhere in the United States, we honor the fallen of 9/11 by giving them a moment of silence every single year, right? And I think giving that honor to the dead of Pompeii in that way would have been a good thing. However, had we kept the love story, I would have scrapped the whole gladiator thing.
Okay.
I would have scrapped the gladiator thing. I would have had it been there. It's a love story, almost Fault in Our Stars.
Oh.
Kind of thing.
You know what? I've never seen that.
I'll be honest, I can't say I've seen it either. I've seen some of the movie. I haven't seen all of it.
Okay.
But I just feel like some of the scenes in the actual movie, it just felt too rushed. It felt like, right, this princess is in a horse-drawn carriage. The horse falls, breaking its leg, right, and this gladiator snaps its neck, and the princess is like,
he's the only man I could ever looked at.
It was like a love at first sight for a ridiculous reason. I don't know.
I mean, he could have been in her mind, but
I don't know. It just felt way too rushed. Well, and then when he's calming the horse,
and they get on the horse,
I was like, and she's like, "Ride with me."
I was like, "This is."
Huh?
So I totally would have taken the Wesley route, Princess and the Bride style. I would have had them been childhood friends. I would have made it that I would have said either he's not Celtic or they are both Celtic, and they both end up somehow as slaves. Would have kind of scrapped the father and mother, which I did love them because it was they were good, we were impending doom, so it was like the movie is we shouldn't get too attached to these characters. So the ones you do want to get attached to, you either have to hate them or love them.
Yeah,
and it was.
I feel like they did that very well with the senator.
Yeah, I hated him.
You hate him very quickly.
When
he's such a creep.
Oh yeah, and that part I was like, when I realized that was the reason, because Cassia, I believe that they're.
princess.
I'll call her princess. She's a senator's
she's a
daughter, but
princess.
she's a princess to some degree. But when Cassia returns to Rome, they were like asking, "What was wrong with Rome?" Blah blah blah, and she's like, "I just found no good men there," and it turns out that it was the senator, the evil senator, and he wanted her bad, and it was like, ooh.
Yeah, he gave me creepy vibes.
And he did a good job of doing it.
He did a really good job of doing it. But no, so the Wesley route, huh?
I definitely would do the Wesley route. I would have had them been childhood friends, either they just have a connection way early on. So it's not that. So that writing scene, I definitely think that would have been awesome. Like she is betrothed to Senator, and it could even have been like he had adopted both. But he wanted her in some weird way, because he was a stable boy. He was this famous. He was the last remnant of this Celtic tribe, and they kept him because that they're about to kill him as a little boy, and they're like, that these ones are good with horses, and they're like, all right, well, and they see that the one boy is like calming down like a Mustang before they kill him. Like they've killed his mom, and they see him like calming down a Mustang, and he goes, bring me that one, and then also keeps they bring the little girl hiding after everyone else is killed, and she's more of the last survivor as well, and so it's like, bring them both, might as well, I always need a new maid, like blah blah blah, like just the spoils of war, and then we can already drop the creepy thing, like I'm sure she'll grow up to be a pretty thing, like this already laying the creepy and we're just like ew, like just already hating him, like gross. So we already
I think that creep factor would immediately bump it up to like PG-13.
Like immediately you're like, ooh. But it makes the audience go, oh, we don't like you.
Yeah.
But then these two have a connection, and they always call him the Celt, blah blah blah. Like they never call him by his name, and we'll let you know right now, his name's Milo. Which I was like, that was anticlimactic because it's all this. I know. It was like this epic scene. He's standing with this African.
My name is Milo.
Milo, and I was like, really? That's it? Atticus has an awesome name. I love the name Atticus. Like anytime I meet an Atticus I'm like, woo! Yeah, love the name. It's a good name.
It is a good name.
But that part was lame. But yeah, I would just have them been, they're the last survivors. Maybe they were like brief, like tiny bit friends, but they became closer. She grew up to be beautiful and became one of the best maids, and she was kind, and he was this kind of scrappy, he has to deal with these untamed beasts. They're bringing him the best Mustangs, and he's siring a lot of them. He's working with all of them. He's got the best breeders. He has bred the best horses for the senator's chariot races that he does. Blah blah blah. Like they could have done so many things.
They could have.
So when they're older, he's probably been training. Atticus could have been another slave who's like a trainer of the soldiers because he was from this Middle Eastern or African area. They never said where he was from. I assume he's African.
I would assume so.
Because the actor is
accent. Yeah. Accent in the name.
But yeah, I just would have had that connection, and then so in that scene of them getting on the horse and riding away, it would have meant a lot more because creepy senator advances on Cassia, and is like, I want you, I need you, and she's like, no, and like busts out, and the whole time I loved the impending doom with the earthquakes.
Yeah,
because to them it's like the gods are like angry.
That's another thing I would have liked to see a little bit more of, because here's the thing: Rome at that point was very pagan, right? And they everything was about the gods. Mm-hmm. Like we got the one scene where the volcano starts to erupt, and the senator, I can't remember his name, Senator what's his bucket.
I'll look it up.
But the senator is like, listen to your god Vulcan is your god Vulcan is angry and he wants a change, blah blah blah.
He makes an excuse to
and to kill the gladiators, right? But I would have liked to see a little bit more of that. Going back to kind of the
Corvus.
Oh yes, Corvus, Senator Corvus.
I love Emily Browning. She's so sweet.
She's a good actor. She played the part of Cassia perfectly.
She did such a good job.
I think all of the actors did really well.
They played their parts really well because it was not they didn't have to do a lot. It was this is what you're playing and you're all gonna die. The end.
Yeah, it reminded me of Rogue One in that way. Except there was no redeeming. You all died, but a good hope for the Republic has been.
No. This is just you all die. You all die. This is an act of the gods. We'll just.
But yeah, I would have
crazy.
liked to have seen like one of the short stories that we see from this be about a family that is super religious, maybe incredibly devout to a particular god, maybe Vulcan, because they live at the base of a volcano.
Yeah, and they all live there. They all probably were like, because Vulcan is Hephaestus, is the Greek version of Hephaestus, the forge maker, the weapon maker. So he works in the mountains, and he. I definitely think like they must have been terrified. Like, what is he making? But I think that with the cute love story, we could have had all those interactions. The messenger boy could have been like a simple boy that we see every now and then. He's the one that covers his mouth and knows there's a dog that always comes up to Cassia that she loves and like, get away from the stray. Like, we don't serve scraps to strays. And but she always like loves that dog.
Yeah.
Calls him
just a bunch of things. Maybe the sheep.
Just random things.
Random things.
They could have taken there's so many scenes because there was that mother and daughter that was briefly in it that Atticus helped save, and I was like, that
was a perfect spot. I fully expected
them to show her
holding the child, and
because there are a few mounds of mounds because that's what they were, just these mounds that they found, and it looks like it's someone holding a smaller person. It would have worked if we would have emphasized that this is just a exaggeration of Pompeii, but yet it's still Pompeii. It was a beautiful place, and it got swept away. They were obliterated by this terrible natural occurrence that they all probably just thought that their gods were insane, that their gods had left them.
Gods were angry with them for some reason that they couldn't figure out. That's what a lot of mythology is all about, right? When the gods get angry, they kill the people that they're angry at, whether they have a reason to or not.
Well, we could have made it that there could have been an uprising to some way because the senator was doing things and they're blaming the senator. He's I would have made him the leader of this town, or maybe he came from, I don't know. But I don't know. I would have made it a
he
corrupt.
Was a senator from Rome coming in to take control of Pompeii, maybe from Cassia's parents, something like that. I don't know.
So if we did it this way of like the cute love story, would we have had him personally kill his mom, or just that he was in charge?
Oh, I would have had him be the one that killed the mom.
So he's just...
That was a good connection, I felt.
Okay.
I felt like that was a good connection that drew us back from the very beginning of the movie to the middle to the end. And it was a very good... The very end of this movie where Atticus kills... what's his name? Where Atticus kills Proculus.
The second in command.
The Spartan warrior. That was satisfying. And then Milo and Cassia together killing Corvus. I feel like that was very satisfying. On a little bit of a personal level for both characters. right? Because Corvus was a creep who killed Cassia's parents, right? And then he also killed Milo's parents. I would just have it be that he killed killed Milo's mom.
But they still hate him because he wiped out their clan. If we did it our way.
Yeah. He did damage emotionally to both characters, and them together finishing them off. It kind of gives me almost a feeling of, I don't know if you've played the Phantom Hourglass. No, sorry. Spirit Tracks. Legend of Zelda Spirit
Tracks. The weird
Tracks.
train one? I have not. I did not have a Nintendo 3DS.
Well, that's okay. Spoiler alert. The very end of the game, you, as Link, together with Princess Zelda, hold the Locomo Sword, which is the equivalent of the Master Sword.
Okay.
And you kill the final boss together. And I feel like that's a kind of, like, they stab the sword into the final boss's skull together.
That sounds dark.
For a game like that, it's not as intense of a villain death as some Zelda games.
Okay. Well, that's only because we're getting the cutesy. We're only getting the cutesy, like, third person view, right, in that game?
No, this one. Well, this cutscene is
it's animated. Mm-hmm. Oh, is it like animated Wind Waker style or what?
Yeah.
Oh, is this supposed to be the Wind Waker Link?
It's after him.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so you want them killing him together.
I would want them killing him together, and I would want Atticus to. I liked the whole Atticus versus Proculus fight. I thought that was a good fight. I enjoyed it. Their final moments together where Proculus bests Atticus, right? But then Atticus...
So Proculus stabs him through.
Stabs him through, and then Atticus breaks the sword off
inside him still.
And then stabs Proculus in
the jaw.
The jaw.
Just right up into his neck.
And that was a very satisfying scene. And
this is PG-13, but yet it was the violent scenes were well done.
Very well done.
You can do a good PG-13 violence. There are some times where it was kind of cheesy, and I was like, that should be an arm cut off. But whatever, that's just me. That's my personal opinion. But this was a PG-13 movie where I was like, Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, I was like, there were some scenes in Pirates of the Caribbean where I'm like, that was satisfying.
Yeah. The fight with Davy Jones between Captain Jack and Davy Jones. That
fantastic
was a good scene.
Oof.
But yeah,
Jinx.
I would have. I don't have a soda to owe you.
I got one in my fridge. It's fine.
I owe you your own soda.
Okay.
But yeah, I would have kept that scene. I liked that. I feel like at the end. Again, going back to the different stories, right? Tales of Ba Sing Se version of this movie. I would go back at the very end of the movie. I would go back to each of these scenes, and I would put a statue of one of the real life statues. Kind of maybe on the right side of the screen with the scene playing on the left.
Or maybe at the end when they're fallen, it like shows
them moving into that pose.
Or maybe it so at the end when the movie's getting all swelling and it's climactic, like we see those two pass away, like we see the fight, because their statue was fake. Of the two kissing, or we could find
it is fake. The closest thing to that is the skeletons of Medina, which I can't remember if they were even in Pompeii or not.
Yeah.
But it's two skeletons holding hands and they're dead.
Oh. I think that was from a different.
I mean, obviously they're dead. They're skeletons.
Yeah, I would hope so. We're still alive. How?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is the introduction to a new D&D campaign or something. I don't know.
Anyway, but I would have it that, either they get swept away after they defeat him, like they're just staring at him and they're like huddling together. Like I wish that they, the final fight between them was something that they didn't even get out of Pompeii. It was like, we are settling this here and now.
I would have liked that too.
And then they see it coming and they're like, and they get swept away. And then we see Atticus. I would have had Atticus be after them. And he goes, I loved that scene so much. He's like, I die a free man. I was like, dang it.
That was, I think Atticus's story in this movie was
the best highlight.
It was the highlight of the movie.
Because we all love a redemption arc of a slave. Because we didn't really get to see that with Milo, the Celt. No. We didn't. He was just there. It was a ripoff of Marcus Aurelius from Gladiator. It just felt kind of revengey, and it was kind of just happenstance that he sees the sender. It was just all luck, which I get it. There's not circumstances. There's coincidences in life, but I just think that for them to have been at his heel, their whole lives,
yeah,
and the world is like ending, and it would have been cool if we would have seen. Milo and Cassia, if they did it our way and they both were Celtic, they were talking about how their gods, because I love how he mentioned like, my gods are coming for you. Like, I loved that so much.
I liked that. And
other people had their own gods, and it was just, I would have loved that he goes like, oh, the god Vulcan must be angry, and then they just go, no, our god is angry. You took one of, like, just something like that, like just kind of the differences of those mythos, just being like, no, our god is angry and he's coming for you. And he always like says that, but because he's such a good horseman and he trains the best, he's like, I don't want to get rid of you because you are like my like he like I just imagine
I feel like there could be many instances where he'd be like, I could replace you at any moment, and Milo could be like, no, you can't.
No, you can't. Like he's like he's shoving his, like, I imagine like one scene he like has his head and shoves him in like a pile of horse dung, just get him, lifts him up. I could replace you at any time, and he goes, no, you couldn't, Proctor, and like throws him on the ground. Get him out of my sight, like just something. And then we have the runaway scene, like they're not supposed to ride the horses, but they get in trouble and he gets whipped still. Like there could have been so much, and all those instances. We could have snuck in all these side characters, like send a message to blah, blah, blah to come and whip this man. And he shows the little messenger boy running. Like, we just see them all throughout. We see the daughter and girl who live in his villa are just, like, happy, and they see Atticus all the time, and he's kind to them. They always wave at Atticus. They always give him, like, an apple. Like, for some reason, they just love Atticus.
Yeah.
Because he's just the kind slave. But he's just the big, friendly,
He's the friendly giant.
He's the strange black giant. He's black and in a Roman city. He stands out. It would have been cool if, not cool, but most likely he stood out, and they just loved this. Yeah, that doesn't sound weird.
No, I get it.
He stands out. It's like Sasuke, the Japanese. The African samurai. Is it Sasuke? I don't know. Old story. I just love those. I just love different cultures when they interact. I just love, as someone who lived in a place that stood out for a while, it was very weird standing out. So I really love to see characters like that who embrace the people even though they're different, and some people show kindness even though people are different. So I think the mother and daughter could have definitely been with Atticus the whole time. Maybe Atticus was a fighter. He still could have been a gladiator. That would have been cool if Atticus was still the prized fighter, and Proculus, the second in command, just had beef with him the whole time. Like, I feel like that grudge the whole time. He even trains. Trains with Atticus, and like always, like whenever Atticus has the upper hand with his blunt sword versus his sharp, he always cuts him, and he goes, a slave will never rise to a Roman, and like walks off, like always does that to him. So that final scene, it would have been awesome. Like
or to yeah.
A gladiator will never equal to a Roman, and then Atticus.
I did like that. That was really satisfying.
I loved when he's begging him to not kill him. Like he's pulling his head toward the knife, and he's like, "Please, Atticus," and he goes, "A gladiator does not beg," and just finishes him. I was like, yes. So I just feel like those little changes could have made this movie so much more appealing. We just have all those connections. I would like the dog. The dog would have been perfect. Constantly, he's like saying hi. Like it's only in the movie for a total of like 10 minutes. But that's how many times we've seen it. And that's a long time for like a single animal. But for a dog to always run around and say hi to people, and they're like, "Oh, Georgie," or like whatever the name they gave him. Don't know why I said Georgie. That doesn't fit. Let's say Argos. That's too Greek. No, I'm going to go with Argos. Argos is one of my favorite dog names. He's the dog of Odysseus. Not Odysseus. Yeah, the Odyssey.
Yeah, Odysseus.
Odysseus. He's Odysseus's dog. The one when he returns, it's like 14 years old and it dies after he pets him. That's what I'll name my dog one day, Argos. So I'll just call him Argos.
Okay.
So Argos will be seen running around, constantly says hi to Cassia, says hi to Milo, and says hi to Atticus and the mother and daughter. We see like a lovely old couple. I definitely could have been like, why wasn't there like an older couple? Because or like the crawling man, like that one would have been amazing.
One crawling like up the steps.
Like I could imagine he's like trying to get to his like wife or kids, and he's like, I gotta get up to my like just so many statues. We could have just had all these little interactions with people, but we do have this one fictional story of these two lovers. It would have been good. But when they die, along with Atticus and all them, then we see poor Argos alone running around, and he's just stuck, and he curls up into a ball, and, the ash mound covers him. And then, the scene goes black and it appears, and we see his plaster mold. We see like a older couple huddled together, covers them, that we've followed along, covers them, and then it shows the actual mold. It shows the messenger boy looking around, crying, holding his mouth and nose, covers him, and it shows, I'm getting really emotional.
Let's be honest. Pompeii as a topic is depressing,
and it was so long ago. It was almost 2000. It's in 50 years. It will be 2,000 years ago.
It was a very long time ago, and it was possibly one of the most devastating destructions of a city that we have on record. Naturally.
Because we as humans decided to top that.
Well, yeah, I mean, Big Brother, kind of decided he was going to kick some butt back in the 1900s.
Anyway, sorry, that got morbid.
But like, it's one of the biggest travesties of history that's not recorded by mankind. But rather, it is recorded.
We have vague writings. We have people who used to live there, barely missed it, or it's...
But we have, like, the biggest things we've got, the biggest evidence. This is the biggest grouping of evidence of a mass destruction of a city that's not just in writing. I might be wrong on that fact, but I'm fairly confident that this is the most evidence of a destruction like this, natural destruction.
It's at least over 1,000 years old, because we have,
and it's some of the best evidence that exists. We have some of the most accurate statues that we could ever hope to have.
And if you haven't seen those, I highly recommend looking them up. They are haunting, but yet they are...
Get ready to be a little depressed. It's not... I will say, looking at those statues and just imagining what happened to them, it's not as intense as thinking about like the Holocaust, for example.
Oh.
But I do feel like it was just as terrible.
It was such a flash thing. It was a flash thing. Holocaust is something of long suffering for those who were in the camps. Awful. For those who in Pompeii, it was confusing. They must have been so scared, so confused. And again, the ground could have been shaking. I really would have loved them to be like, Senator, what is going on? Are the gods angry with us? And, you know, men in power usually are the ones that get blamed by the lessers. And finally, when things are blowing up, that's when things kind of really fall apart. So I will ask, since we've kind of made somewhat of an outline, because we have them being a cute couple or cute childhood friends that are enslaved by this creepy senator. One's a horse. One's a horse. No, sorry. One is a stable boy horse trainer. One is a servant. He can't stand Milo. He's creepily in love with Cassia. When she becomes of age, he makes advances, and she comes to Milo, runs away. So what would be the consequence? Would we then have him be thrown into the gladiator pits, or would he just be thrown in prison and Atticus
I think being thrown in prison, and the only cell available maybe is with Atticus. I don't know. Something like that. Something weird,
or maybe like you have to fight Atticus or something, like the final, like your final thing.
This is your final straw. Maybe Corvus has found somebody new that can take care of his horses. Not nearly as good.
During it, like a messenger boy appears during his like final trial, and he goes, Milo, it has been done. I have found someone to replace you. And with this and your act of trying to steal Cassia, I can finally be rid of you. Like something like that. And so we get to see the messenger boy again. So something like that.
Maybe something like that. That could be fun. I do like the idea that he knows how to fight, that Milo knows how to fight. I don't know.
He's sneakily been training. He could be sneakily training with Atticus. Maybe Atticus is a well-renowned.
Maybe Atticus is another one of the slaves who runs the gladiator fights.
He could be just a gladiator who's gotten so good he has quote-unquote freedom, but he's not really free. Like he walks around, but he is easily called upon like a chained animal. Like he has a mark or something just to say like, this is our prized fighter, and he's treated so, but whenever he tries to like speak up for anything, they just quickly, like 3 men come and beat him. Maybe he tries to stick up for Milo and just gets beaten, like, remember your place, slave. And he's like, I thought I was free. He's like, and that's when he really has big deal with Proculus, who's like, always remember that you will never be a citizen, and you come here at our senator's like beck and call, like something like that.
You cannot be a free man.
You will never be a free man. A gladiator can never be up to a Roman. And so just always having that beef. See, little things like that would totally have made this movie like,
yeah. All in all, not a terrible movie.
No.
It wasn't great. Again, like I'm not gonna go and watch it just for funsies. I would not complain if I never see this movie again.
Yeah, it was a good movie to watch while I made food, had it on my laptop. I made food.
I worked on a homework assignment for my art class.
And
I watched it.
There were a few scenes that made me stop, and I was like, this is interesting. I did, again, Atticus for me was like my top like character. Kit Harington hardly said anything, and I was like, I love you so much, Jon Snow, but like, I never watched Game of Thrones, but still, just he's Jon Snow to me. I'm like, that's Jon Snow. He's no one else. And Marvel was going to use him, and he's not going to be anything because Marvel's stupid right now.
We don't talk about Marvel right now. We're not talking about Marvel.
Yeah, we're taking a really big hiatus.
We're taking a break from Marvel.
A big hiatus. You know what's funny? Someone was like, you talk about sequels a lot. I'm like, that's usually the ones that make people the most upset. Okay.
They do sequels tend to ruin the first movie.
Yeah.
Generally.
That's why I think these last 2 episodes have been nice, because they're just movies that, and this is what my goal was, to talk about movies and go, what could I have done differently? And really, we've already talked about a way to have a better, because the love story was so, it was so rushed.
It was very, yes, it was very.
And we live in
rushed.
Utah, where love is very rushed here, but you know what I mean, like.
Wow.
How long were you guys engaged? A week. Oh my gosh. I mean, how long have you known each other? A week. Okay.
My wife and I were not that quick.
Okay, good.
No. We knew each other for a few years before we got married.
No, I applaud you. I know my aunt and uncle, I love you guys so much. Their marriage is wonderful, still thriving. They only knew each other for 2 weeks. And I know this isn't, he was a horseman's slave and she was a senator princess type of love, but still, though, it was fast.
One of my buddies was super, super quick. It was one day they said, "Hey, we're officially dating now," and then literally a week later, he sends us a picture in our group chat of him on one knee proposing.
Okay.
And then the next Tuesday, they go and get married. It was insane. They're happily married. They're still married. They're still happy.
I am so confused. They didn't know each other before?
They knew each other.
Oh, okay.
They spent 1 semester at school together. So
anyway, so fast love for me doesn't do well. I am a type of person that needs to. I like connections. We've talked about connections in past episodes, and I just felt like the connection was not as strong as it could have been. Was it still a cute connection? Sure, but I just felt like
it was. There's got to be support, right? The cutesy patootsy love story is fine. It's not there. There's no support for it though. So there is no connection.
So if you didn't have a love story, because the love story, how would you have done this movie? Would you have just done maybe just a single slave?
No, I would have done the Tales of Ba Sing Se thing.
So you would have made it more of a bio movie.
Almost like a biography.
Okay.
Like a speculative biography of the people of Pompeii. And it could have been fun. Like I would have probably made sure that every story was connected somehow, maybe through the dog.
Oh, the dog could Argos says hi to every. Oh,
that could be cute.
So would you have led up to the? Okay, so I'm assuming you would have led up to the initial destruction and have all the stories slowly build up to that, or would you have gone, here's one story, here's one story, here's one story, here's one story?
Kind of a combo of both.
Okay.
So it would be one story leads up to the next story. That story leads up to the next story.
So Argos leads us to each
story. Exactly.
Argos, the Argos dog leads us to each story.
Then I would want almost like Argos is walking. The dog is walking towards the volcano. The volcano erupts, and then we go in reverse order, and the dog goes past the last story, the final story. He runs past them, and then we watch them get covered with dust, and we see their statue. And then he runs past the next, the previous story.
Oh.
And because it's almost like a yo-yo, right? And then
that's perfect. And Argos is the last statue.
At the very end, I would want Argos to look back and kind of whimper and roll over and kind of
curl up and get. Oh my gosh, Tim, that is.
I know it's depressing.
No, that is really good. I would have that because see, I wanted to do how would I have done the cutesy romantic action movie, but this movie of Pompeii, and it could have been because all it is just a little dog walking. And it starts with the dog walking up to Pompeii, and then we see him interact with one people.
Well, it could totally also be like. We see the first 5-10 minutes we get the dog being born and then in his litter, and then him being bought by a Pompeian, and then that his owner passing away or something, and he roams free from
honestly
it. Honestly,
I totally think that you have an introduction of this is just a rendition of stories of based on the statues. This is all fiction, blah blah blah, and we hope to not disrespect anyone and enjoy this movie, sort of thing. And it literally just opens with this wagging tail, and it shows him walking up to Pompeii. And then he like goes up and interacts with like the messenger boy, and he goes, "Hi, Argos!" Like, and we have established that he's just a stray dog.
Yeah.
What are you doing, boy? Like, he pets him. He's like, "All right, I gotta go do some work." And you hear like the mom is like, I don't even know. I don't know any old Roman names, but he's there. She just like, like, I want to say Michael, but that's not a Roman name. But just call, like, his mother calls out, like, "Get all those messengers done. You need to get back by sundown. We're having guests over." Like just making it, and then it shows him just running around saying hi to everyone. It's just cute. And that would have been, and then, after his like cute little tale of him interacting with all these people, Argos like bark bark and like says hi. He's like, "Hi, Argos," and we follow Argos again, and leads to the next story. That is that is adorable. I would have cried.
There is one story that I want for sure if we do this.
Uncle Ira.
Uncle Ira. Zach, watch Avatar. No, so one of the most famous groupings of statues from Pompeii is it's several statues, almost a dozen maybe.
Oh, the garden.
And they're all like almost reaching towards a wall, and it's depressing because there's a lot of dead people. They look like they're crawling. I think it would have been really good to have maybe they're party goers having some fun, or maybe it's a family.
Oh,
because here's the thing. As a general rule of thumb, when you think of a family outside of the United States,
it's big.
It's big. It is
because it's like extended.
It's extended family.
And they're close.
It's like 6 generations.
I saw that all the time
it's like
in Ghana.
3 to 6 generations. I saw it in Chile all the time, especially like with the Haitian people that I dealt with.
Like Coco.
How
the family is super close and there's all together. They live in all one big compound.
Yes,
very
exactly.
much like that.
And I imagine that Pompeii was probably very similar. Ancient Rome was probably very, very similar, where your family, you take care of family, you take care of each other, make sure that great grandma is fed.
Nothing's more important than family.
And I feel like a story where family, it's a family, maybe having a birthday party or something, celebrating the father achieving a good business deal or something. I don't know, something fun, right? And then the dog can wander in, and the kids can all be like, Argos! Right? Like, all super excited to see him, and all the family, they all pet the dog, and then he wanders through, and then he comes back, and they're all trying to escape maybe a burning building. Maybe their home is on fire, and the only way out is through the garden.
You know what would have been cute? If they see Argos and the dog gets stranded, and one little boy like picks him up and
puts him over,
and they pass him over, and they just, for some reason, they just felt in their heart to just pass Argos over the wall, and then he just goes, and then they see the next person, and for some reason, like, I know that's kind of cheesy to an extent and like weird, but I feel like sometimes during crisis, people will see a dog or an animal and be like, "Yeah, we got to save it," because they can't they can't really think, they don't understand what's going on. So we as humans feel like, I got to help. And I just imagine the family is just like, and one of the like the dude who's crawling up the stairs is with like another person who's like, go Argos, go, and he's like pushing him, and he's like hurt and he's wounded, and Argos is trying to like pull his hand to get him up, and he's like, no, 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 and like runs to like the last boy, and he finds the messenger boy and like tries to curl up, and the messenger boy is like pushing him away to get out of here, and he ends up crying, and then that's when we see him leaving the city, and
maybe he's at the gate of the city about to leave, and then he turns back and walks into the city, kind of symbolic of him, instead of leaving his family behind, right? Because at this point the whole city would be his family. Instead of leaving all them behind to die alone, he goes in and he tries to find people before he
the only
dies.
reason I would say we should see him leaving is so we could get the what's it called when you
the panorama
just so that he runs up, like, and we can have the cute dog run up to the camera, like the same angle that we saw him walking, and he, just like total Momo moment, just curls up, and it gets him. That would, to me, I feel like that would have just been a simple. If there was a biopic of Pompeii, that's how. Like, if there was a weird like biopic series. That's how I would do it. And each episode would be, I would probably do multiple episodes. Each episode would have Argos going up, and you could totally stream it like after it all was released. But the last episode is him quickly running through all the people, and then because I would want the explosion to be much shorter than the enjoyment we got with the citizens of Pompeii.
Yeah, well, because here's the thing: when a volcano erupts, in minutes you're covered.
Yeah.
In not even in minutes, within probably 30 seconds you have ash falls already.
And Roku fought one.
And Roku fought a volcano.
Okay, no, we don't need to drop Avatar. And he
got double teamed.
Yeah, we won't talk about it, but still.
Anyway.
But volcanoes are terrifying, and this one was terrifying. But I would just, either way that how this movie would be done, your route or my route of how keeping it, I would just want us to appreciate we would, as an audience, love the people of Pompeii, be terrified for them, and then weep as we see them covered.
Yeah, because you want, for a good story, and we talked about this, I can't remember if it was last time, I think it was when we were talking about Avatar, but one of the tenets of a good story is an emotional roller coaster. When you go through, we were talking about Iroh, I think. We were when you're able to tell a story that takes you through all of the emotions and leaves you feeling emotionally, maybe a little bit emotionally drained.
Yes,
just a little bit. That is a good story.
Most of the movies I buy, especially now, I don't really buy movies a lot anymore, but the last couple movies I've bought are movies that have done that. The Whale and Everything Everywhere All at Once, those two movies, both different movies entirely, but I felt the emotional, both movies, I felt so drained. And honestly, Barbie.
I haven't seen it.
Oppenheimer was draining. It was draining, and it was well done. Would I buy it? Probably not. Barbie? Maybe. But I felt drained from both. And sometimes I don't even have to laugh, but just making me, just the emotional roller coaster. I love the idea of it drained me. The movie that I watched, I wasn't drained. I was like, I was a little bit emotional with Atticus. I teared up more. I teared up a bit when he just says, "I will die a free man," and I knew that was coming because that's what he wanted.
Let Rome know that I die a free man.
Like, it's just because Rome was cruel. It was cruel. It was not kind.
Yeah. I think just for the sake of this story, and for the sake of the the honoring of the people of Pompeii. I like our story better. Than
I think I like yours. If I were to
Mm-hmm.
if we're talking about the movie and things I would have changed because that's how I like doing things, I would have made the love story better, made Atticus a big major role, would have included some of the people of Pompeii. It all comes crashing down in the end, but in the end, it all pays respect to the people of Pompeii and really shows them. I definitely probably would, if I would have kept the love story, still would have had Argos be the last one to fall because it's just a dog. He'll just get the audience just crying. But
Yeah.
yours, I absolutely love the idea that Argos is the connecting factor. And I love that we're taking a Greek name and making it a Roman dog, but I don't care.
There's a game that I played called Spirit of the North, and it's a very cute game, very simple. And the
What
premise
is this
of this
on?
the premise of this is I have it on Epic Games on my laptop.
Okay.
So I don't know what it's on. It's probably on Xbox or PS5 or whatever.
All right,
I don't know.
I'll have to look. Anyway, sorry.
But it's just a good game, and the premise of this game is you are a fox. You play as a fox in a post-apocalyptic world. Mankind has died, and you are going through and you are finding the remnants of their cities, of their villages. You are finding sometimes you'll come across their some of the bodies of the shaman. There's these little puzzles where you have to take like a staff with a curved circular top to a skeleton in robes. And anyway, you follow this story and you gain new abilities and you're able to jump and dash and stuff. It's cool. It's fun.
Okay.
It's very. There are some parts that are very difficult. Some of the puzzles are really
I struggle with
interesting.
puzzles.
But the idea of you're playing as an animal, right? A quadrupedal animal, and you're going through, and you are able to see the remnants of a long forgotten civilization. You're able to see how certain people died. You're able to see how certain civilizations thrived, right? And you climb this mountain, and it's just a very cute game. And I feel like this story where we follow this dog is very similar, where it gives you almost a sense of exploration as you explore the lives of these people, the lives of these different families and of these different subcultures within a city. Because if you go into any city, no matter where you're at, if you go into any city, different families, different groupings of people they're going to be culturally different in some way, even just a little bit. Whether it's their traditions, their background, their mannerisms, their relationships with their family, whatever it is, right? And being able to see that kind of those differences, through the eyes of this dog, would be really, really cool, I think.
The game you're talking about reminds me of Stray. It's kind of a new one that came out recently. It was on the PlayStation. It was on PlayStation.
I have it. I haven't played it. I have it.
You have it? Okay. But yeah, I think just simply following with an animal and just going around and seeing these stories would just be a cute thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this movie, it had a simple premise. We all know the outcome. Mm-hmm. It's not hard, especially if you all have learned history.
Once you hear the name Pompeii, immediately, if your mind doesn't go to the song like Zach, your mind immediately goes to a volcano, death, destruction.
Again, like
Statues.
Titanic, we all know like it was a terrible thing that happened, and the whole time you're watching that movie, which I've only seen once, my mother had the 2 VHS movie. You had to use 2 VHSs. That dates. Yeah, you had to take one. You had to make sure you rewind the first one first, and then put in the second one.
Jeez.
Yeah, jeez. Yeah. So I remember watching that like once, and it was to a little kid boring. Maybe I should try it again.
Some of our listeners probably don't even know what a VHS is.
Oh my god!
And I'm sorry if you don't.
I feel like we're not completely outed yet. Not yet. In another decade though, I'm definitely gonna be like, "What's a VHS?" And I'm gonna go, "Ha."
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think there's much to say. It was a simple movie, and I felt like whether we just change a few things or completely make it a respectable docuseries, because that was so weird to me that it was going to become this action love story.
Yeah.
But yours, I think I would have. I
I
don't know if I would have gone to theaters, but I don't know.
I honestly expected it to be very similar to the way I wanted it to be, and the way that I'm saying it should have been.
I definitely think in a world of streaming, in a world of episodes, yours becoming a series. A series, thank you. That's way better.
An episodical.
An episodical. That's
a new word, canon.
There is a word that talks about things having episodes. Editor's note: episodical is a word. It means pertaining to or the nature of an episode. Thank you. I swear, I'll look it up. I'll make an editor's note of it or something.
I'm pretty sure it's a series.
Fine, we'll just say series.
But
but
not
still,
an English major, so
I think that I think your version in this day and age of streaming, if it would have been episodes, I think people would have watched it.
Yeah, I feel like those
people love Chernobyl.
Would be really short, probably.
I feel like 8 episodes for 40 minutes.
40 minutes. I was thinking more 20 to 30 minutes.
I think if you can do them right, 40 minutes would be pretty good.
That's the issue, doing them right.
You're right. And we could probably go on and talk about each single episode, but that would probably be another time.
I think keeping it a single movie, maybe 2 hours or an hour and a half to 2 hours, whatever, following the perspective of the dog the whole time.
And it still could have been just a streaming movie and people would have watched it. But if you could have 30 minutes, 30 to 40, you do each story, and then the last one is like 50, just because we're seeing all of it come down.
That could work.
I would watch it.
I would too.
And I would probably be bawling, especially if we've all gotten attached to Argos and just see him saying goodbye to each of the family, pushing him over the wall. Oh.
Yeah. I not gonna lie, I really like this idea.
I do too.
Anybody that's not Hollywood, reach out. We'll totally do this movie.
We will help out. I definitely would love to watch this as a docuseries. I would. I know
there is a series called Pompeii, and I haven't looked into it. I don't know if it's. I literally found it looking for.
You did
for this. The Pompeii TV series. It's a mini series from 2007. And it looks like it goes through, this, I guess the miniseries goes through the last few days before Pompeii, before the volcano destroyed Pompeii. Interesting. I don't know.
Nope.
My idea is probably going to be better.
Oh, I definitely think so too. I think
I don't
yours
know, not
would
to toot my own horn, but
I think it would. Tim, the idea of talking about it, and I definitely think making it, because that's what I thought it was going to be, a docuseries.
I thought it was too.
If we're gonna talk about things that are tweaked in the movie to make it more interesting and build connection to the characters, because they all were just short-lived.
Yeah.
Too many characters in so little time.
At
least with your series, at least we're like focusing on them for a couple minutes, and then fine, because we're all accepting that. But this one,
and I also like the idea that we only ever hear the name of the dog.
Oh,
that I feel like that would be an interesting way to shoot this movie. Only ever hearing the name of the dog, never hearing the names of the people.
I think that's a good idea.
Because that's when you hear names of people, right? You get attached immediately. You put a name to a face, and you immediately start to build a file in your brain about these people. But if you don't have a name for them, you don't need to worry about it.
We just call him Canis, the Latin word for dog.
Canis. I like
Canis.
it. I like it.
Canis. Sorry, I don't speak Latin. Canis. That makes more sense. But Canis. I like Argos, but you're right. A name makes it too attached. But to just call him dog, just for everyone to call him dog.
I like the idea of giving the dog a name.
Okay.
But nobody else.
Okay. I like it.
I don't know. It just... I feel like that could help you get attached a little more to the dog and
that's
a little
fine.
less to the people, but you're still following the people and following their story as well as the dogs.
Because we know for sure that there was a dog, and humans love dogs, so we're going to feed on that. But I think that I really would watch this if it was a series or just an hour and a half to 2 hour biopic. I would watch it. 10 out of 10 would recommend to a friend.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty. Are you satisfied with your movie care?
Yes, Baymax. I am satisfied with my movie.
Go listen to our Big Hero 6 episode. I really had fun with that one. But well, thank you everyone. That was a lot of fun. I was surprised. That was a good episode.
That's not where I thought it was going to go.
But it did.
That is not where I expected this episode to go, but it was good. That was a really good episode.
It's only been like an hour and 10 minutes. Wow, what happens when we actually focus and look at each other and get excited? And this was good. This was really good. Well, everyone, be good, be kind, and really quick for some throwouts, we would love for y'all to follow us on social media. We have Facebook at Hear Me Out Pitch, Instagram, Hear Me Out Pitch Pod, and TikTok at Hear Me Out Pitch Podcast. So it just goes up. So we share all of our info. We talk about each episode whenever they're posted, and we're going to start posting some memes. But yeah, thank you all for joining us on this journey, and we hope to see you again.
We'll see you later, pitches.